Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Another Man's Treasure. Another Man's Treasure is a 2 to 6 player card game published by Grandpa Beck Games. In this game, you're going to be trying to create sets each of the 5 rounds that you're going to go through, and these sets are going to have to meet certain patterns. And you're not going to be able to repeat these patterns throughout the game. So you're going to try to shed as many cards as you can by the end of the round, and the cards left in your hand are going to count positive points towards you. Well, this game is all about who has the least amount of points at the end of the game. So you're trying not to have cards, you're trying to run out of cards, and you're trying not to get points each round. Well, let's go head down to the table, and I'm going to show you how to play this game, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is going to be Another Man's Treasure. Now, Another Man's Treasure is going to be a game you're going to play over 5 rounds, and through those 5 rounds, you're trying to get the lowest score. Now, there's going to be 2 modes to this game. There's going to be the classic game, and there's going to be the progressive game. On the score pads here that you're going to hand out to players, there'll be a progressive game side and a classic game side. Now, the classic game side is the simplest game, and it can end pretty quickly with people completing a pattern because they have 8 cards, and a pattern is going to be 8 cards to set it down. So you will probably start with the classic mode, but you'll probably go into the progressive mode pretty quickly. Now, to set up the game, it's really simple. You're going to hand out one of these reminder cards to each player. So each player is going to get a reminder card. You're going to give each player the correct scorecard. So if you're playing the classic this side, if the progressive, they'll flip it to that. And on each round here, you're going to deal out 8 cards to each player. Now, if it's the first round, you'll go ahead and start the discard pile. So we'll have a discard pile. On a player's turn, you could simply only do a couple different things. You can draw a card. Now it has to come from here or here, and then discard a card. So you can see you have 8 cards here, and a pattern is going to be 8 cards. So why wouldn't it be that every time you play this game, once you've meet your pattern, you place it down, that you have an extra card? All right, so there's a special can I have it rule. Now the can I have it rule is, let's say it's the end of my turn and I discard this 7. If I discard this 7, someone can say, can I have it? Now we're going to go in turn order, so from my right, and each player is going to decide whether they want to have it till they get to the player that said, can I have it? Now, if any players before the player that said, can I have it, wants it, they will just simply add this card to their hand. They don't discard any cards, they add this card to their hand. So they went from 8 cards to now having 9 cards. And that's how you're going to get extra cards in your hand in the classic mode. Now, in addition, one thing you can do is on your turn, you can place it down and you can say, can I have it? And then we're going to go all the way around, and if no one else wanted it, you're going to get it and place it in your hand. So you could actually do that for your own card. Now, a couple rules for this. This has to occur before the next player draws their card. So as a nice courtesy, maybe take a couple seconds before you draw your card to allow everyone to see whether they want to call, can I have it? All right, so let's say someone put down their set. This isn't a set. And they have no cards left in their hand. The round will end. Now, at the end of this round, everyone's going to have one chance to look at their hand and see if they can place down a set. If they can, they will. And that will allow them to have less of a positive score at the end of the round, which is bad. Once everyone has determined whether they can play their sets, they're going to mark their sets off make sure their sets that they use this round are marked off on their score sheet so they can't use them in following rounds. They will then add up all the numbered cards in their hand that were left. So these are going to be positive points that you're going to add in. And wild cards here, there's some treasure cards in this game too here. They'll be worth 5 points each. Wild cards here are going to be worth 10 points each. And the 1 through 11 wild card, which is the big wild card, is going to be worth 15 points. You're going to take that score and you're going to place it in the proper game score area here of your score track. then you're going to be ready to do the next round. So for the next round, you'll just shuffle up all these cards here. You'll hand out 8 cards to each player, and then you'll flip a new card to start the discard pile and start that round. Now in the new round, you can't use the pattern that you've marked off, so you'll be limited to those patterns. You're going to continue on until we end to the 5th round. At the end of the 5th round, the final score will occur. The player with the lowest score at the end of that 5th round is going to be the winner. If there's a tie, the player who completed the most collection patterns will win. If there's still a tie, the victory will be shared. Now, that is going to be how you play the classic mode. In the progressive mode, there's just a little bit more. You're going to be using the opposite side of the score sheet. So you're going to be using this side of the score sheet here. And you're going to play through the game with progressively larger hands in here. We're going to go over a couple things for this progressive run. For a longer, more challenging game, 9 rounds can be played. So it's going to go over 9 rounds, and they're going to be broken into sets of 3. So in each of these rounds, so the first set of 3 rounds, you're going to have 6 cards to start the game with. Same rules as the classic one, but you're only going to have these 3 different patterns you can do. 1 suited run of 6, 2 sets of 3, 3 suited pairs. Next, once you complete these 3 rounds and you got your scores from each of those 3 rounds, you're going to do another set of 3 rounds, and this one's going to have 8 cards. So you're going to have 1 suited run of 8, 2 sets of 4, and 4 suited pairs is going to be your 3 different patterns that you could have for the second set. This last set, you're going to have 10 cards, and you're going to be able to do 2 suited runs of 5, 2 sets of 5, or 5 suited pairs. Those are the patterns you can have. So you could see where this progressive game is going to really sort of amp up as time goes by. And at the end of the 9th round, the person with the most or least amount of points is going to win. Now, something different in this progressive game is you can get smiley face points. One of the 5, 6, and 7 of each color have this symbol. So let's find one here. So one of these is going to have a smiley face. So for this symbol here, you're going to earn negative 10 points per card with that symbol if you've played it. If this card is stuck in your hand at the end of the round, you're going to receive 10 bonus points. So you're going to want to play this one out, and you can reduce your score with these through the progressive game. So that's a really cool twist on this. So other than that, you're going to follow the sheet. All the rules that you care about are on here, except for that smiley face bonus that you can have in here. So you'll know that you're going to be playing over 9 rounds. As the game goes by and you're writing this down here, you're going to look to see how many cards that you're going to get and what sets you can complete. So that is the progressive game. And I think that one is going to be where the meat of the game is at. Once you've played the classic game a couple times, the progressive game is really where it's at. So that was how to play Another Man's Treasure. Let's go ahead back up from the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Another Man's Treasure. All right, so that was Another Man's Treasure. Grandpa Beck Games has a huge family line of card games, whether it be trick-taking games or set collection games like this one. They have games that are all family-oriented, and this game is not an exception. This is another game that you can sit down and play with your family and friends. Easy to teach, fun to play, and doesn't take relatively long time to go through those 5 rounds. A pretty quick play of the game itself, and it has an interesting trying to collect those patterns and then trying to getting them marked off and then try to work with what you have left as the game goes by. So there's a lot of unique sort of things that you need to think about as the game progresses, which I really appreciate on there. So it's not just a simple hey, I just try to win, or I try to get a certain number of tricks. Not that this is a trick-taking game, because it's not. Or in that area, this has a lot of cool thought that you have to put into between each of those rounds. So I do really appreciate that. But is in a set that is really easy for you to teach the rules to people, which is also really important because that's where this game has been designed for, and that's the audience it is for families. So this game here is going to be another great game from Grandpa Beck Games. So if you like the set collection games, I particularly love Cover Your Assets or Cover Your Kingdom. I love those two from Grandpa Beck Games. That I actually like them slightly more than I do like this one, but this one also is a great game that I like. And those games have a lot of take that in it. So this game doesn't have the take that in it. So if you want to have more of a casual, friendly game, Another Man's Treasure is where you want to be. So depending on the group that I'm playing with, if they don't like take that very much, I am going to go with Another Man's Treasure because, like I said, it doesn't have that, and you can still have a large amount of strategy and for what you're collecting for your sets and patterns, a lot of things to think about. Really good game. So that's where it sits. So if you're looking for a really good set collection game, I would highly recommend this. If you want to take that in your set collection games, I would highly recommend for you to check out Cover Your Kingdoms or Cover Your Assets. Those are really, really cool ones there. They also have a couple other set collection ones, but this is one of my favorite on there. So that's my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching.